welcome to another episode of How to Get More Customers If You're a Local Business. My name is Jeff Harrison, and today I have a fun topic, and it's how does a broken garage door help you with your marketing? Well, first of all, I'm in Arizona this week, and I'm thinking about, hey, what will we talk about? And last week, I think it was on Wednesday, I'm heading to a shoot across in Rancho Mirage, and my phone rings, and my wife says, "Hey, I can't get in the house." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she says, "Well, the garage door is not opening, and we have a touchpad on one of our outside doors." And she said it's not opening. I said, "Well, okay, so I'll get turned around and I'll head back and see if I can help you out." I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I needed to be there for my wife. So I turn around and I'm heading back, and about 2 minutes later, maybe a minute later, she phones and says, "Hey, I got in." I said, "Great." I said, "Okay, so I'm going to go finish my thing," and I come home. And the garage door is not opening. For some reason, I push the button and it's making a little noise, but nothing's happening. And so I thought, well, what the heck am I going to do? I kind of did some things, and I'm not super, I'm real creative, but when it comes to mechanical stuff, I open up the cage, and if something is obvious, like it's melted or it's black or it's dripping oil or something like that, that's pretty obvious. But this was like, have you ever opened up a computer and you're like, what's all this stuff inside this computer all about? Well, that's kind of the way this garage door opener was. I had no idea, so I thought, well, let me check my home warranty. Well, my home warranty actually covers my garage door. So they came out a couple days later, and the guy, like in 10 seconds, had the thing working. I'm like, "What's the deal?" He said, "Well, it just had to be reset." And I'm like, I looked all over for a reset button. There was no reset button there. And he showed me how to do it, and great. He says, if it happens again, this is how you reset it. Okay, so 2 days later, my wife and I, Saturday morning, we're getting ready to go play some pickleball. Yeah, I love to play pickleball, and the garage door is not opening again. God dang it. And so I manually open the garage door, we back out, and now the whole time I'm playing pickleball, I'm thinking, geez, what should I do? Because I'm going to Arizona for the week, and I don't want to leave my wife with that difficulty of what's going on, and to get the guy back out there on a Saturday is probably impossible. So I thought, I'm going to try to fix this myself. I thought, well, I'm going to replace the garage door opener. Because the guy had told me, he says, "Hey, it's possible." He said, "This has probably been up here since you bought the house, which was 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And, it's kind of one of those things, garage door openers, we don't think about changing very often. It's like a hot water heater, right? Unless there's no hot water." And the way this works in the marketing is oftentimes someone or something will happen, and someone will come to us and say, "Hey, this is something that you should try." And we say, "No, I don't want to do that because I've always done it this other way and it's always working, and I don't want to try anything new." Well, I kind of had I don't want to say back against the wall, but I did. I didn't want to leave my wife stranded with a garage door that wasn't opening. So what I did is I got online, like all of us do, and I researched. And I was a perfect example of this. You've heard me say this before, like 88% of us do all our research before we ever pull out our credit cards or go to the store. Well, I did exactly that. So I watched a few YouTube videos to see if there was something I could find that could help me fix that garage door, which was unsuccessful. And I thought, well, okay, what do I need to replace it with? So I found a new model, the Genie 7705, and I thought, well, okay, how hard is it to install? I see the track up there, and I'm thinking, in my mind, I'm thinking, I'll just remove the old motor, put the new one up there, and boom, we're done, right? So I go and I buy this the new garage door opener for a fraction of the cost, and I get up there and I start working on it, and I get it all assembled, and I take down the old one, and I go to put the new one. I'm like, this sucker's like 1.5 feet shorter. So now the connections in the roof, on the ceiling of my garage, don't line up. And also the connection point in the front of the garage, where this pole attaches, is really not the right size. It's a little bit too big. So I'm like, gosh darn it, now what do I do? Well, I made the modifications, and then I got it up there, and I go to push the buttons because you got to do a little wiring, and I push the buttons and nothing happens. I'm like, okay, maybe the wires are wrong. So I redid it, finally got the wires working right. And the way this works with marketing is this. Sometimes we're going to try something new. Maybe we're not familiar, and maybe it's a do-it-yourselfer. You're trying this yourself. Let's say you're trying Facebook advertising, and you put an ad out there, and nothing works, or it's not working yet. So this is where most people will come to that fork in the road and say, well, Facebook advertising just doesn't work. I got to tell you, it does work. YouTube advertising, it does work. Google ads do work. Content marketing does work. All these things do work. It's like a diet. There's a gazillion different diets out there, and if we did the diet the way it's designed, or the process the way it's designed, sometimes we have to stick with it and do some testing. So I kept testing the wires and testing this, that, and the other, and then I called my wife out there because when I hit this button, my garage door went down only a partial amount and came back a partial amount. I'm like, okay, now what? Because now it's not going all the way down and all the way up. And now I've been at this for probably 3 hours, right? Maybe 2 hours. And I wasn't sure exactly what to do next. I'm like, come on out here, let me see. And I see there's only a couple buttons you can push on this thing. So I'm pushing this plus and minus button, and nothing's happening. I'm like, God dang it. I said, okay, so go back inside. Let me do a little more research. So this is like us when we have something that's not working, but we know it does work because there's many, many people out there doing this. I'll give you an example. One of our clients, over the course of April, they had a season-ending sale, and so we ran an ad for them, and it got a gazillion. I shouldn't say it. It got about 13 or 14,000 views on their video this month, or the month of April. And when you think about that, that's a lot of exposure. But the call to action was to call, click the button and call. And it showed that they had gotten about 400 of those calls. Well, their business did incredibly well during that month. And if you did the same thing, you may get the same results because it proved it out that it worked. But sometimes what happens is, even us, that we've done hundreds and hundreds of ads, and we've made thousands of videos and written thousands of pieces of content, sometimes we don't get it right. But it doesn't mean it doesn't work. It may be something we say, hey, we have to change a headline. It's like that wire. We say, oh, okay, the wire with the stripe on it goes in slot number 2, and without the white one, without the stripe, goes in slot 1. Boom, it works. And now we have a winning ad. Or now the garage door goes up and down, but it doesn't quite go up and down as well as it should. Well, that's the same thing if we put an ad out there and it does okay. It's not optimized for its highest and best results, right? So what we do is we might change a title, we might change an image, we might change the copy. We'll do each one of these and then test it. And if it improves it, fantastic. If it improves a little more, fantastic, and we'll change something else. Well, I had to do the same thing. So now I was at that point where I said, okay, I've got the thing working, it's got power going to it, it's going up and down, but not all the way. So I went back to researching. What do I need to do to get it to go all the way up and down? Well, there's a thing called travel time that I didn't know. I thought travel time was, hey, I'm going to be in the car, I'm going to traveling to Arizona. No, it's a different thing. Travel time is how long does the motor run while it's going down or up. So I found a 1-minute video on how to adjust the travel time to make it go down. Sure enough, in 1 minute, I saw how to do this, and now I got to go all the way down, but it wasn't coming up. So now I went and found the other half of this of going back up, and all of a sudden in that 2 minutes of no more trial and error, but researching how to make this happen, I was able to replace the garage door and make it go up and down. Everything worked. Now, I'm kind of proud of myself because it goes outside of my comfort zone. And I know for some of you that are watching right now, digital marketing content marketing, Facebook ads, whatever it is, I know sometimes it's a little outside your comfort zone, and so you may or may not take action. Now, I want to close with this thought. Saturday, I was doing some cleanup after this whole thing. I was doing some cleanup on some of my Facebook advertising admin accounts that we have. And I was noticing one on there that chose not to go with us, and they're in Moreno Valley. And I thought, well, I want to remove my name from their admin account. And it's been a couple of years, it's like this was around pre-COVID that I put it up there. And so I went back there, and the business is closed. It didn't make it. And yet another business similar to theirs in Moreno Valley who chose to go with us, those people chose, the ones that closed, they chose not to do anything. They chose to say, you know what, we're just going to let our food do the talking, and we're going to hope it works. It's the hope it works. That's not a strategy, gang. I guarantee you that's not a strategy for success. The other business, during that same time, still cranking, opened up an additional location during COVID, and they're growing. Why? Because they kept doing their marketing. Now, I remember back in the recession of 2008 that I did a little research, and Forrester Research, I think it was Forrester Research, said businesses that don't do advertising during a recession or some kind of marketing will see an average of a 19% growth over a 5-year period, which, gang, that's not a lot. And they also put an asterisk that said, if they survive at all. But those businesses that chose to do some advertising and almost double down on their marketing saw a 275% growth. Now, why do I point this out? Because this is a situation where here in the Coachella Valley, some people say, oh, now we're going out of season, and I'm going to cut back on my advertising. I'm going to really kind of pull it in. I'm going to be like the hibernating bear, and I'm going to go in for the winter. Well, here's the thing that I've recognized over the course of the last couple of years is our demographics here in the Coachella Valley are changing. We have more and more people who decided to move here from San Francisco and Los Angeles and Orange County and up and down the coast to make the Coachella Valley their permanent residence. And it looks to me like, and again, I don't have scientific study on this, but it looks to me like the average age of those people has gone down. So what I'm saying is these people are here year round. So if you're one of those businesses that says, hey, you know what, I'm going to pull down my open sign and put closed on there, or I'm going to reduce my hours tremendously because I know, hey, it is out of season, you may be missing an opportunity. It may be one of those times where you say, hey, there are some people living here year round, and I need to take care of them. Whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a heating and air conditioning company, whether you're a pool service, whatever it is, you might want to think about servicing that environment. Now, the cool part about this is, going back to my garage door, it works beautifully. I finished it up by programming. Yes, I even took the program. We have an outside pad on outside the wall or outside the garage. I got that working. I got the one inside my wife's car working. I got the one inside my car working. I relate that to automation. Once you get the system working, whether you're saying, hey, I'm going to create a piece of content, written content and a video once a week, and I'm going to push this out, that you turn this into an automated process. And as you post this, you say, hey, I'm just going to add, $20, $25 in local advertising through Facebook, and I'm gonna let it run and target my potential audience. That is automation. That's like programming, and then just let it run. You'd be surprised what may happen. So, how does a garage door that wasn't going up and down, how does it relate to marketing? Well, the first off, if you're first trying it, it may look daunting. It may look uncomfortable. You may pull back. But here's the thing. If you want to continue to get new customers, then you probably have to keep doing something new. Because here's the thing, a plant, if it stops growing, what is it doing? It's dying. But as long as you're feeding and nurturing it and it's growing, it's producing. Well, the last thing we want to do is we want to stop growing. We want to nurture our audience. We want to put some things out there. Yes, I admit that maybe there are going to be those days and those moments when it's 115 outside or 120 outside, that our normal activities are going to be a little bit less. But there's still a lot of us here in the desert live here year round, and we want to be serviced. Are you going to do that? Are you going to do something different? I hope so. Will you test it? Will you try something? You know, this last 2 years during COVID has really retrained the entire world on using this whole thing, this digital marketing, this Zoom, this one-on-one relationship through video, to say, hey, before I take any action, can I research it online before I jump in the car at $5.50 or $6 a gallon for gas and drive all over town? Does Lowe's have it? You know, the cool thing about it is when I researched on Lowe's, it told me exactly where it was in the store. So now I was more efficient. I just walked in, picked it up, there it is. Here we go. There was no wandering around the store. So I've got to get back to work. Actually, you got to get back with the conference I'm at this week is really fun. We're learning a lot more about content marketing, which is what we do, and creating great content around your business. And so just like anything else, I'm that plant. I'm nurturing what we do. I didn't say, hey, this is what we do and we always do it the same way, because at some point there's a stagnation. Because the market, it's like time. You know, I may stand still, but that clock is still moving. Well, when it comes to digital marketing, it is still moving. We still focus on content being our platform, our foundational message, but how to get it out there, where to put it, where our customers are. That's what I'm learning this week. My goal is to help you as my potential customer do it more efficiently. So until next week, my name is Jeff Harrison. I hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you again next week on how to get more customers for local business. Take care.